The story of the forbidden anime begins at a gymnastics practice where a group of gymnasts are impressed by how much Aoi has improved. Even the captain testifies that the lady has improved a lot because she has always had a talent for the sport. In the past, Aoi could not perform well in front of an audience, so she opted for a one-on-one training session with the coach. Normally that should be fine, but this coach seems like the kind of guy that you don't want your lady to be around with. Presently, Aoi has changed because of her one-on-one lessons with the coach. However, to become a regular like the other gymnasts, she must complete a certain tournament. While posing, Aoi becomes restless at the sight of the coach, and her face suddenly turns red. She gets sweaty instantly and struggles to remain focused when the coach assembles everyone. While addressing them, the coach tells Aoi to stay behind so he can finish his one-on-one training session with her. Hearing this makes Aoi nervous, but behind all that, she seems to actually look forward to seeing the coach since it's her last day. When they meet later, the coach smiles because of what he sees, especially since her apple pie is visible and barely wrapped. Aoi fidgets after seeing the coach and seems a bit sweaty too. When asked to approach him, her heart races, causing her pink jelly beans to enter rage mode, and we all know what's next when that happens. Her behavior gives the coach the impression that she has been looking forward to seeing him. This is evident by the fact that her apple pie's warm, caramelized juices are already overflowing, even if it has been appreciated or stirred yet. Of course, when the coach notices this, he can't help himself and goes on to sample her apple pie, get a good grasp of her twin personalities, and even go after her pink jelly beans. As a result, Aoi fills the room with her cultural sounds, and at that moment, she realizes that she may have made a big mistake asking him for help. About 10 days ago, Aoi realized that the tournament was her last chance to become a regular gymnast. Since she was not good enough, she confided in the coach and begged him to tutor her in a one-on-one training session. Of course, the coach jumped on the offer under the condition that she follow his instructions within their 10-day training session. Aoi foolishly agreed to his terms because she was desperate to become a gymnast. She ignored the coach's obvious red flags and started paying the price for her actions on the first day of her training. At that time, the coach showed off his mukbang skills on her apple pie until it overflowed with its warm caramelized juices. Aoi couldn't resist his cultural energy he was emanating, so she accidentally became his cultural buddy. The coach's cultural energy is so strong that at one time, she accidentally stepped on Legos simply because he stirred her apple pie. Presently, as much as she hates to admit it, she likes the way the coach takes care of her. He first gets a good grasp of her bouncy twin personalities and then proceeds to show off his tongue-twister skills on them. Aoi can't help but let out cultural sounds again because that is one of her weaknesses. Eventually, the coach stops and asks for a CPR, but Aoi declines since it's her first. However, the coach ignores her and goes on to CPR her until she admits that she likes it. He then shows off his apple pie mukbang skills again until she accidentally spills plenty of its caramelized juices once again. As a result, the coach's sword hero enters rage mode. Surprisingly enough, Aoi greets it head-on, making it even more enraged than before. The culture within her is going out of control, and she can't help but use her twin personalities to try and suffocate the coach's sword hero. While in such a forbidden stance, she lets out more cultural sounds but soon finds out that her coach is not impressed. As a result, she assumes another forbidden stance to make sure that she gets her coach's validation. While doing so, she shows off her karaoke skills for his sword hero, and can't help but spill even more of her apple pie's caramelized juices in the process. She then loses even more control after the coach compliments her cultural energy because she produces more of her apple pie's caramelized juices. While showing off her karaoke skills, she recalls that she was pure when she met him at first. She also feels that she traded her heart in exchange for the man's cultural energy. She even let him confiscate her V card. But to her surprise, she presently does not feel bad about it. Well, that's probably because, like many others, she didn't realize that she wanted to be repeatedly appreciated by a strong sword hero. Moving on, she shows off her karaoke skills so passionately, giving the coach the impression that she is deeply captivated by his sword hero. Deep down, Aoi likes his sword hero and wants to be appreciated by it, which explains why her apple pie is already overflowing with caramelized juices uncontrollably. She becomes a bit too happy while showing off her karaoke skills, and the coach gives her a fresh serving of his organic homemade yogurt drink as a way to thank her for all her efforts. As you'd expect from someone who follows a zero-waste lifestyle, she takes everything and makes sure that none goes to waste. The yogurt's sweetness worsens things for Aoi so much that she once again ends up accidentally stepping on Legos even without being appreciated. Just like that, she spills more of her apple pies caramelized and asks the coach for some appreciation. After finishing her fresh yogurt drink, she stops and wonders if she is still sane because her previous self wouldn't have fresh yogurt, let alone long for it. However, those thoughts immediately disappear after she sees that the coach's sword hero is still in rage mode. She savors the remaining organic homemade yogurt drink and proceeds to show off her karaoke skills on her coach's sword hero once again to continue trying to calm it down. Her performance makes the coach so happy that he gets up close and greets her twin personalities as a way to validate her. While in such a forbidden stance, he tests her gymnastics skills and makes her perform a full split in front of a mirror. While seeing her reflection in the mirror, Aoi becomes uncomfortable when the coach inspects the path to her chocolate factory. Her coach wants to reward her wonderful performance by appreciating her chocolate factory, but she insists he focus on appreciating her apple pie instead. She keeps persisting on the matter because she knows she will definitely lose control otherwise. Despite that, her coach ignores her and uses his sword hero to draw circles around the entrance of her chocolate factory. Deep down, he wishes for Aoi to be honest with herself and admit that she wants the place appreciated. Then, because of his overwhelming cultural energy, Aoi snaps and asks him to appreciate it. Being the gentleman that he is, the coach wastes no time granting her request. He reaches far and wide in the process, causing Aoi to let out more of her apple pie's caramelized juices as she constantly steps on a road full of Legos. The coach applauds the fact that he defeated friction while appreciating Aoi's chocolate factory. He gives credit to himself because he explored Aoi's chocolate factory in the past and made sure to improve its elastic properties. Now, Aoi is at the receiving end of the coach's sword hero and its onslaught, struggling to recognize reality as her mind slowly goes blank. She looks like a lost cause at this point. She can't even speak straight anymore because she is too overwhelmed by the cultural power of the coach's sword hero. Normally, she would be embarrassed by the mess she is in, but now, she feels the exact opposite. Her forbidden reflection with the coach makes her so happy that she wishes everyone could see it. Of course, the coach notices this, so he repeatedly appreciates her chocolate factory and stores a hefty amount of his organic homemade yogurt drink in it as a way to thank her for being honest. In return, Aoi steps on Legos and accidentally spills plenty of the caramelized juices of her apple pie. Even after that, she assumes another forbidden stance, letting the coach know that she still wants even more appreciation. The coach speaks of this forbidden stance as a special treat he reserved for her, since it is their last day of training together. Before it begins, he tells Aoi to imagine being surrounded by a large audience that can see her true self. As you'd expect, Aoi does as she is told and imagines being appreciated by so many people. The sight sets her mind on fire so much that she craves her coach's sword hero again. After voicing out her feelings, her coach begins another special training session with her where he trains her. He fiercely and relentlessly appreciates her so much that she lets out even louder cultural sounds as compared to before. At this point, Aoi's mind has completely blanked out, and it seems that the only thing she is thinking about is stepping on Legos. She quickly falls in love with her coach's cultural energy, and her stage fright is no longer present. Thinking about being able to properly perform in front of a crowd causes her to step on Legos again out of joy. She spills plenty of her apple pie's caramelized juices, but it does not stop her coach from repeatedly appreciating her. He further pushes her limits by telling her to imagine being surrounded by sword heroes that are being charged up by the power of self-friction. In a snap, Aoi loses control of herself and spills even more of her apple pie's caramelized juices. Seeing this makes her coach appreciate her apple pie more seriously so she can step on Legos again. Then, when the time is right, He gives her another serving of his fresh, organic, homemade yogurt drink as a way to certify that she is done with her 10-day one-on-one training. The following day, the coach assembles all the gymnasts and announces that the tournament is upon them. Well, guess what? Aoi's pink jelly beans get enraged, and she steps on Legos, accidentally spilling her apple pie's caramelized juices just by seeing and hearing the coach. Given how much she's changed, it isn't surprising at all that she ends up telling the coach to continue with the one-on-one training sessions even when the tournament finishes.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.